Good morning, everyone. It's Betsy. Welcome to my channel. So I got in a journal making mood a couple weeks ago, and I decided I wanted to make a journal about ballet. I've always loved the ballet as an adult, but I must confess, when I was a little girl, I hated it. This is my old ballet case when I was only around 5 years old. And my mother, she tried to get me into ballet classes, and I went a couple times and I hated them. All the other girls seemed like they were older than me, and I felt very intimidated. And I just refused to go. And my mother, I know, was so upset because I'm sure she wanted me to be a little ballerina. But I was much more of a tomboy. And I don't know why I saved this case, but it's quite old and faded and a little bit waterlogged. But inside, I just have to share with you what I have. And these were also from my childhood. Whoops, sorry. Well, instead of being a ballerina, I was much more of a farm girl. I used to love to play with farm animals. And some of these are, I think this one must have been my brother's. This little soldier or rancher, whatever. Maybe it wasn't mine, I don't know. But gosh, I can remember playing with this little white rubber sheep. It's very dirty right now, but I loved playing with my farm animals. And this was the fencing. I remember this, and I remember this old green fencing. I don't know what happened to all of it, but this is all that's left. So that's my tale of being a dancer. But I say to myself, if I should ever come back in another life, to be a dancer would be, I think, such a wonderful thing. I'm sure there's a lot of hard work to it and discipline, which right now in my life I certainly don't have. But maybe if I came back again, I could be more disciplined and become a ballerina or a jazz dancer or a contemporary dancer. I don't think it would matter, but I just think dancing is a wonderful form of self-expression. And I love watching all the dance shows on television. So anyway, I thought today I would share my ballet journal with you. See if I can bring my lens in just a little bit closer. I think that should do. I hope my camera's kind of at a bad angle, I think. Maybe I should go up a little. Okay, let's try that. On the front, I just used this velvet ribbon. I actually got this at Anthropology. Can you believe that? That's such an odd place to have found it, but it was just a lucky find. It was in a basket and it was reduced. And I had this little crown brooch that I thought was so sweet, and I put that on top. I have 3 signatures in it, and I used decoupage paper from, I believe it was Stamperia, and I used it on the front, around the spine, and on the back. I think it was actually 2 sheets, and I used an old book. Not real old, it was just a silly book I had laying around, nothing valuable, and I took out the pages and just used the nice spine. So, inside I used another piece of that same Stamperia paper and added a little bit of coloring to kind of blended in. And I found this gorgeous photograph of a little ballerina online, and I printed her out on a glossy sheet of paper. So it looks like an old-time photo, real photo. I have a stamp that says journal, so I put that at the bottom. I love that stamp. I got that from Etsy. So I filled it with lots of old French laces. And I love the French painter Degas. I think that's how you say it, Degas maybe. So I've used some of his pictures that I found on Google by Googling and just printed them out. I made a little pocket, and inside this, I mean, I don't know if this really goes with dance, but I put a little tag of dried flowers that I made. I just thought the colors were pretty. And here's just a doily pocket, and I made a pretty little dried flower bookmark. And I found some beautiful images on Etsy of ballerinas. And I have quite a few of those in here. Now this pink paper I also found on Etsy. I absolutely love it. And I have lots of blank pages. I like to keep my journals somewhat, not empty, but I like to have blank pages. I think sometimes, for me, it can get a little too busy to do every single page. And I also like to keep them blank so that the person that receives this journal will have places to make it their own. So this could be used for writing, it could be used for photos, it could be used for collaging, for their own art, whatever. Just a little ballerina. Some French, I believe that's French. Could be Italian maybe, I'm not sure. This is just a little file folder. It's very old French lace. Don't you love it? This is a very old velvet flower from my stash. This is an antique piece of paper, scrap French paper from 1745. I love it. It's one of my favorite pages. Sometimes in a journal, you make something and you think, why did I put that in there? This was one of those pages. If I had to, I would tear it out. But I wouldn't want to ruin this, so I kept it in there. But to me, it's a little bit too maybe modern. I don't know. What do you think? But she's three-dimensional. It's, what do you call that? Oh, I can't think of the name of that board. Some sort of board. And the butterfly is too. So they do stand out. It's something different. Pretty little sparkly trim. It's an old flower. Just a little booklet. is a very old trim. I just thought that, I don't know, just seemed to be fitting. This is second signature. I'm not sure she belonged in here either, but I love that stamp and I hadn't used it and I wanted to use it. So I just put her in because I thought she was pretty. I added some embossing to her. I'm not sure if you can tell that. Some pretty trims. Gave her a little eyeliner too. She looked like a ballerina to me, that serious, intense face. That's a real little pressed flower there. This was a foam stamp that I got from Etsy. I just loved her. Another piece of old paper. Silk flower from years ago. I collaged this page, some stamping and played with it a bit. Old lace. That's another Degas print. This is actually a belly band. I have to put something under that. Forgot to do that, but I made it out of a ribbon that was stamped with French words. I love this. This is a little glycerin bag. Is that how you say it? Glycerin? Is it not glycerin? Glycine. And inside I put a ticket. I thought this would be a great little bag to put ticket stubs after going to dances or being in dances, or maybe a special ticket you wanted to save from a ballet. It's very old French lace. This is new lace, but I just loved those dangles. Aren't they pretty? Got that off Etsy. It's a little pom-pom flower. It's very old. And I just put it on a flip card. And underneath you can see, I think it says Dance Through Life. Here's another little file folder. Could hold something. And this is a dried flower that I laminated and glued on there. And lastly, this is an envelope I made with some pretty rose cardstock. And I thought, you know, if you had a daughter or granddaughter that loved to dance, this would be a wonderful way to write them a letter or a note to tell them how proud you are of them, or to tell them something, whatever your heart desired. And you could put that in there for them. And I just made a little clay frame and decoupage the word dance and these little crowns inside. And that could even be glued onto something. You could glue it onto the envelope like that, or glue it onto a page. It wouldn't have to stay in here if you didn't want it to. And this is just a little Tim Holtz clip. Probably seen those maybe. They're so sweet, tiny little clips. And I just ended it the same way I started it, with the ballet shoes. And that's about it. So I hope you've enjoyed my little dance journal and story. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, everyone, and keep dancing.